Welcome to MyLITV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. MyLITV starts now.
Brookhaven National Lab is a Department of Energy laboratory. There are 17 in the country now. Brookhaven was one of the original national laboratories. There were something like 20 possibilities everywhere between Boston and Washington, D.C. for a location. And it was a controversial process. It took something like a year or two to finally decide. And Long Island won because it was sort of the least parochial of all of the places. Everyone who was pushing for a particular place had a favorite, and no one really was focusing on Long Island, and that's the one that emerged back in 1945, 1946. There are 7 Nobel Prizes since the 50s, from understanding the basic properties of matter and materials to understanding how cell membranes work for improvements in medical applications. One of the things we do, which is really exciting, is we build big machines that universities or industry can't by themselves build, machines for doing experiments, and then people come from all over the world to use them. 4,000 people a year come here. In fact, Brookhaven is a big contributor to the economy of Long Island, obviously and directly in the jobs that we create for people who work here, but also for the jobs that are created that support the place, and then for the hotels and the restaurants and everything else that drives Long Island. Something in the neighborhood of $700 million a year, I think, is the number for what the laboratory contributes to the economy. We're a multidisciplinary laboratory run by the DOE, so that means we have a whole range of activities that go on, from nuclear physics, looking at the fundamental properties of matter. So for example, one of the big facilities is the relativistic heavy ion collider. The densities of the matter that is created there is among the densest known anywhere in the universe. The temperatures are several 100,000 times hotter than the sun, and the matter that's created is thought to be characteristic of what was true within a millionth of a second of the birth of the universe. So on one end of the scale, in our nuclear physics studies, we're looking at the origin of the universe. And there's nothing more exciting than that. Just ask either of my kids who ask me these questions all the time. Where did we come from? What does it all mean? Every week through June and August, we open up the site and invite everyone who's interested to come on site. We had a record summer last year. I think it was 8,000 visitors came through to look at Brookhaven. Each week we focus on a different facility or a different kind of science. It might be nuclear physics in the RIC, that's the origin of the universe, one week. It might be nanoscience the next week, life sciences, biology and addiction yet another week. And then our synchrotron, the light source. What originally brought me to the laboratory in the first place was the chance to work at NSLS #1. Now we're in the process of building the world's brightest light source, NSLS-2. It produces beams of X-rays that we can use to study the properties of materials or chemical processes or biological structures. It's going to let us image materials at the nanoscale. That's just about 10 atoms big. The reason gold is famous for jewelry is that it's shiny. That's because it's relatively inert. It doesn't react in air. But if you take just 100 atoms of gold and look at 100 atoms, it turns out gold is really reactive. It's one of the main elements in catalytic converters in some cars. That's because materials at the nanoscale sometimes have different properties than they do in bulk. So this new synchrotron is going to let us look at materials at the nanoscale in a whole new way, and we hope in that way have impact across the board on energy. It's exciting too for Long Island because it's a $1 billion project. It's under construction now. It's created hundreds of jobs, and when it finally starts working, it will continue with a couple hundred more jobs after that. So we're really excited about that.